I wrote something in the chat, not that I don't know if it'll show up when I watch this, but what I wanted to talk to you all about you, um, and I think it's huge because it teaches all of us. You cannot know everything that is going to be on the surface. Not everything is going to be on the surface. You might have to dig deep. This is what Scorpio season, Scorpio energy is all about. And below the surface is about finding that answers and transforming and truth. Getting to the bottom of those things. Areas that we typically wouldn't go towards. Taboos that we wouldn't typically go towards. If we wouldn't typically talk about death, sex, and various other things. This model is a scenario that's going to be very metaphorical for life. It has many layers, and it's going to take some discussion. Maybe, maybe not. We'll just have to see. Notice that I have circled a right here. I have circled this letter. And there's a reason why I circled it. I'll get into that later, hopefully. A is not only a letter, but it is a word. This A right here appears at the beginning of a sentence. The lowercase a, which is right here, appears in the middle of the sentence, never at the end. And A being a letter appears in. But anyway, this Nordic party takes place in Arendelle. That's what the A stands for. But supposedly, the A stands for something else. So, for the Nordic party, we have a couple of themes, a couple of terms and aspects of the party that I'm going to be going through and just discussing in a very slight way, but so that you can get it and hopefully have a rich understanding of this party. Because it's not about the aspects of the party. It's about what happens at the party, what it means, what it really means. You know, I can use very few words, but it's not the words that I'm using. It's going below the words and how I'm saying it, how I'm delivering message. So let's first talk about connecting. Well, it's what happens at parties naturally, but people at this party are connecting. We're getting to know one another, are getting to talk with one another, do things with one another, having a genuine bridge being built between one person and another, and not walls being built between people. I'm reminded of that song by Barbara Streisand. Feasts They're eating a lot of rich food, Nordic food, comfort food like Oktoberfest and Fall Festival and things. This is taking place in mid to late November, like the 22nd, 23rd um, of November. This festival is happening around the time when Frozen 2 was released in theaters, coming up later this month, which is such a fitting time to discuss this. It is up and coming. And Arendelle, as you know, is the city in Frozen 2, obviously. And it was very fall-like at that time. Summer happened and then fall happened with this. This is in the autumn. This is in the, after that harvest season, honoring the 95th. Let's just imagine 95th anniversary of Arendelle. And on this 95th anniversary, people shared their gifts, not only their physical gifts, not only the material gifts that they create for others, because this is part of this festival, and they give away the things that they don't need, giving things to others because they care about them, but their presence and their kindness and their soul and just being there and gratitude and all of those really wonderful Huga and spiritual traits and characteristics. So sharing those, exchanging gifts. There's a card in the Woto deck called Exchanging Gifts, and that is what that is about. What light that you have to bring on to others in the world. Then the people are laughing, laughing at the party, playing games, laughing, having fun in their own ways. Having fun is different based off of how you define it. Some may have fun through the eating aspect. Some may have more fun through the dancing or just the calm still. It's how you look at it and what you prefer, what your preferences are, and your definition of having fun. So that has many facets. Dancing, there's a lot of dancing. There's a lot of folk dancing going on. People are celebrating. People are commemorating. And also, the final thing, which I know looks to be a random term, but it's pancakes. Let's just imagine that you're living alone in a Nordic, well, not necessarily a Nordic village, but you lived out in the rural country. And you, on Saturday mornings, let's just imagine, Saturday and Sunday mornings, had either pancakes, French toast, waffles, or, yeah, or donuts for breakfast. And you took somebody in last night, Friday. You took, let's just imagine, you took somebody in to your home. And that next morning, they woke up, they had their, whatever drink that they have, they get their clothes on, and you say to this person, I'm going to surprise you because I know that you are in desperate circumstances and you are alone and you need food and you need a home that I can provide you with and resources and things like that. It's just serving somebody, caring for somebody. And the Person likes surprises, and you surprise the person with pancakes and or French. Okay, that yeah, pancakes. Let's just say pancakes. You surprise the person with pancakes. Okay, yeah, surprise the person with pancakes. But it's not about the food, it's about the time. For breakfast, that person would not look at you like you had horns, but the person would look at you like you had horns. Because typically, with all the jobs, maybe you would hunt out in the woods, maybe you would farm, maybe you would be a banker or like whatever you did, whatever function you served. It was not traditional, and it wasn't unheard of for people to have pancakes, French toast, waffles for breakfast, let alone Pop Tarts. Like these people would have the meat, they would have the ham, they would have the bacon, they would have the eggs, they would have the whatever they have. But things with a lot of protein and a lot of carbs that they would burn off during the day because of breakfast back then and conditions. People worked harder, they had harder lives. But the pancakes were served with chocolate and with berries and cream um, at this party, let's just say. Everything was going fine. And they would dance after the feast, and then you know, they would dance after they would have the feast, then they would dance, and then they would have the dessert at the end, and they would like I don't know the order. Maybe they'd have the dessert and then they dance, and then that would kick off. Those cycles of water, air, earth, and fire going through that, going through that party model, party pro element model type connection. But so everything was going according to plan. People were dancing around, having so much fun. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, came out of the thicket from the trees, heading directly on towards the silly. People on horses, people on horses with weapons were charging towards the people. And the people, the leader of the gang of guards and his accomplices and people to put them in line said, "Hey, attention!" The people turned, startled, threatened, shocked, looked at the person. And the person, all that the person did, all that the leader did, when I say the person, I mean the leader. See, there's a leader. So as you can see, there's a story with this. So this leader said to the people, said directly to the people, in a very honest, straightforward way where the people would get it. And there were guards with weapons that were spreading out on the people to make sure that the people would follow this person's orders and that they would get the message and follow him and do what he was asking. And when he was asking, a cover is not the book. He may have seemed to be evil and trying to, I mean, the black and white message is to try to hurt these people. He said, honestly, give me all of your money. I'll leave you alone. That's all that he said. And he was threatening them, and he was desperate. The men helped him to get the money, and it actually wasn't him; it was a bunch of people because they knew that Arendelle was a rich hub, mecca for money. They had stacks of it in their archives, in their buildings, in their warehouses, in their shops, in their banks, in their churches, in their homes. And you want to know the big question? Are people martyrs? Are they going to risk thing that they have worked for all the time, the effort, the blood, sweat, and tears, the dedication, the commitment, the determination for others, and giving up all of that? The people threaten them because they know people and they want to get their way. They're using those tactics. But you want to know the huge shocker? You may think that this man was actually the A word, the ASS swear word, but get this. This leader was a humanitarian. He was a humanitarian. He had a genuine love, curiosity, appreciation, and openness and wonder about people from all walks of life. He cared about people, about society, about the planet, about that our values, and he wanted to shake things up. He wanted to stir things up. He wanted to get rid of the root of all evil. And the root of all evil is money. He wanted to have these people give him the money so that he could destroy it. And that then they'd find another form of putting value on things, another form of trying to keep society in balance with being pure and with not having that caveat of people do anything for money, they smuggle things in, they, do all sorts of negative, horrible stuff for money. He wanted to get rid of all of that hatred, suicide, power, desperation, selfishness, all of that. He wanted to remove it because he cared. And he cared for all of those people. And although he was doing something bad for something good, that's the though in there. That's the though. That's the however he was doing something good. So that you know, and then he would, you know, and if I said that he'd give them money in return, If I said that, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. And then he would just leave them, get on with their festival, and then they'd come back and change themselves around and try to help the people and try to change the world in these ways. You leave them alone, let them enjoy their celebration, and then history would be made in this land, in this Arendelle, and that's a whole nother story. Who knows what would happen? Who knows what other form? Who knows what would do? Maybe they would barter, maybe they would trade, but something would have to happen. Something would have to change. And this Nordic party is just a model, metaphorically, to show what happens in the world, problems in the world, what people do to solve them, and what maybe their motives are clear to others, what some people perceive as not being the truth of what others are trying to do. And yeah, so that's what would happen. So that is the Nordic party model. Find another way to get the resources that they would need that would be a good way, a pure way, but yet having a form of currency and things that people wouldn't